Welcome back to ZE Coins channel today. We are diving deep into the story, mystery, and fascination surrounding the United States of America 1981 P Mint Mark Roosevelt Dime coin. This is not just a coin. It is a time capsule, a symbol of an era, and for some, a dream discovery. To truly understand the 1981 P Roosevelt Dime, we need to step back in time. The early 1980s were a moment of transition in America. The nation was adjusting to economic shifts, changing leadership, and a renewed sense of identity. Coins minted during this period quietly carried those changes in their metal and design. The Philadelphia Mint, represented by the P Mint mark, was producing millions of coins for everyday use. These dimes were meant to move quickly from mint to pocket to cash register, never intended to be admired or saved. And yet, decades later, collectors look back and see something more. The Roosevelt Dime itself has a powerful legacy. Introduced in the mid-20th century, it was created to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a leader closely associated with strength, perseverance, and progress. His portrait on the obverse side of the dime represents more than a face. It represents a period of American resilience. By the time the 1981 dime was struck, the design had become familiar, trusted, and deeply woven into daily American life. That familiarity is exactly what makes certain examples so fascinating today. The P Mint mark tells us this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and most historic mint in the United States. For many years, Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark at all. When the P Mint mark began appearing on certain denominations, it marked a new chapter in mint identification. On the 1981 Roosevelt Dime, that small letter carries big meaning for collectors. It links the coin directly to a facility that has been shaping American coinage since the nation's earliest days. At first glance, the 1981 P Roosevelt Dime looks simple. Roosevelt's profile faces left, confident and calm. The inscriptions are clean and balanced, giving the coin a sense of quiet authority. On the reverse, the torch symbolizes liberty, flanked by branches representing peace and strength. While the composition of the dime had changed from precious metals in earlier decades, the craftsmanship still mattered. Sharp strikes, clear details, and flawless surfaces are what elevate certain examples far above the rest. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Most 1981 P dimes were heavily circulated. They were dropped, scraped, worn, and forgotten. But a tiny fraction survived in exceptional condition. These are the coins that never jingled in pockets or slid across counters. They were protected, preserved, and kept away from the damage of everyday life. When collectors talk about rarity, they are often talking about condition rarity. A common coin can become extraordinary when preserved at the highest level. Collectors chase perfection. On a Roosevelt dime, perfection means razor-sharp details, mirror-like surfaces, and absolutely no signs of wear. Even microscopic flaws can make the difference between an ordinary collectible and a legendary one. The 1981 P Roosevelt Dime, when found in an astonishing state of preservation, becomes something almost mythical. It represents the idea that even the most humble objects can become priceless when time and care align just right. Why do collectors care so deeply about a dime from this era? The answer lies in emotion as much as logic. Collectors are storytellers. They love the hunt, the history, and the idea of uncovering something overlooked. A coin like the 1981 P Roosevelt Dime appeals to both seasoned numismatists and newcomers. It is accessible in concept, yet challenging in reality. Everyone feels like they might already have one, and that possibility fuels endless searching. In the modern collecting world, professional grading plays a crucial role. Coins are examined under magnification, evaluated against strict standards, and sealed in protective holders. When a 1981 P Roosevelt Dime receives top-tier recognition, it instantly gains legendary status. It is no longer just a coin. It becomes a benchmark, a reference point, and a headline piece. These elite examples are the ones that capture attention, spark conversations, and make history within the hobby. Every great collectible has stories attached to it. Tales of old collections rediscovered, rolls of coins opened after decades, and single dimes standing out from millions of others keep the legend alive. The idea that a simple dime could change someone's life is powerful. It transforms everyday pocket change into potential treasure and keeps people looking twice at what they might otherwise ignore. The 1981 Roosevelt Dime stands out not because it was rare when it was made, but because of what it has become. It represents the intersection of history, condition, demand, and chance. It reminds us that value is not always obvious at the moment of creation. Sometimes, value grows quietly, waiting for the right eyes to notice. As you watch this video, think about the coins you've handled without a second glance. Think about the stories hiding in plain sight. The United States of America 1981 Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 Dime coin teaches us that even the smallest pieces of history can carry enormous significance. Whether you are a dedicated collector or simply curious, this dime invites you to look closer, learn more, and appreciate the hidden depth of everyday objects. We're diving deep into the story, mystery, and collector appeal of the United States of America 1984 Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 Dime coin. This isn't just a piece of change, it's a symbol of history, craftsmanship, and the surprising power of rarity. The Roosevelt Dime itself carries a legacy that goes far beyond its size. Introduced in the mid-20th century, this coin was created to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, one of the most influential presidents in U.S. history. Roosevelt's leadership during times of national crisis left a deep mark on the country, and his strong association with the fight against polio made him a natural choice for this honor. When his portrait was placed on the dime, it transformed an everyday coin into a tribute carried by millions of Americans. Fast forward to the year 1984. The United States was in a period of cultural change, economic movement, and technological growth. Coinage production was running at full speed, supplying millions of coins to keep commerce flowing smoothly. Among these coins was the Roosevelt Dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark. For many collectors, that single letter tells an important part of the story, because mint marks can play a major role in determining a coin's desirability. The Philadelphia Mint has a long and respected history. Often considered the heart of American coin production, it has been responsible for creating countless coins that shaped daily life across the nation. The 1984 Roosevelt Dime was produced during a time when minting techniques were highly refined, resulting in sharp details, consistent strikes, and clean finishes, at least for most examples. But as any seasoned collector knows, perfection is never guaranteed, and that's where intrigue begins at first glance. The 1984 Roosevelt Dime may appear common. Millions were produced, and many still exist today in circulated condition. However, the true excitement lies in the condition, strike quality, and unique characteristics that separate an average coin from an extraordinary one. Collectors pay close attention to details such as the sharpness of Roosevelt's profile, the clarity of the inscriptions, and the overall surface quality. Tiny differences can mean everything. One of the most captivating aspects of this coin is how it reflects the artistry of its design. Roosevelt's portrait is dignified and strong, facing left, with subtle details in the hair and facial features that reward close inspection. On the reverse, the torch symbolizes liberty, flanked by olive and oak branches representing peace and strength. Together, these elements form a design that is both symbolic and timeless, reminding us that even small objects can carry powerful meaning. For collectors, the hunt for a standout 1984 dime is about more than just ownership. It's about discovery. Coins that were struck with exceptional precision, preserved carefully, or stored away untouched for decades can emerge as remarkable examples. When a coin survives in near-perfect or flawless condition, it becomes a snapshot of the moment it left the mint, frozen in time. Another layer of fascination comes from the world of grading. Professional grading services evaluate coins under strict standards, examining every detail under magnification. A high grade can dramatically elevate a coin's status, transforming it from a simple dime into a highly sought-after collectible. In the case of the 1984 Roosevelt Dime, top-graded examples stand apart from the rest, capturing the attention of serious collectors worldwide. What makes this even more compelling is the emotional side of collecting. For many enthusiasts, finding a rare or valuable dime sparks a connection to the past. It might remind them of childhood coin jars, family members who collected coins, or the thrill of searching through rolls hoping to uncover something special. Coins like this carry stories, not just from history books, but from personal experiences as well. The 1984 Roosevelt Dime also represents the idea that value isn't always obvious. In everyday circulation, it blends in effortlessly with countless others. Yet under the right circumstances, pristine condition, exceptional strike, and expert recognition, it can rise far above expectations. This contrast is one of the reasons coin collecting remains so exciting. You never truly know what you might find. Collectors are also drawn to the educational side of coins like this. Studying minting processes, historical context, and grading standards turns a simple hobby into a journey of learning. The more you understand, the more appreciation you gain for each tiny detail. The 1984 dime becomes a teacher, offering lessons in history, economics, and art all at once. As time passes, interest in certain modern-era coins continues to grow. Collectors who once focused only on older, classic pieces are now recognizing the importance of later 20th century issues. The 1984 Roosevelt Dime fits perfectly into this evolving landscape, bridging the gap between modern production and collectible potential. The next time you come across a dime, take a closer look. Examine the date, the mint mark, and the condition. Consider the journey it may have taken, from the mint floor to circulation, from pocket to drawer, from obscurity to recognition. Coins like the 1984 Roosevelt Dime remind us that history isn't always locked away in museums. Sometimes it's right there in the palm of your hand, waiting to be noticed. We are diving deep into one of those quiet legends, a small silver-colored coin that most people overlook without a second thought. Yet among collectors, it has sparked curiosity, debate, and fascination for decades. This is the story of the United States of America 1994 D Mint Mark Roosevelt Dime coin. A coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but carries a history, a mystery, and a value story that continues to surprise even experienced numismatists. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may never look at a dime the same way again. The Roosevelt Dime legacy. The Roosevelt Dime is more than just spare change. Introduced in 1946, this coin was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader remembered for guiding the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. His strong connection to the March of Dimes made the dime a natural choice for his memorial. By 1994, the Roosevelt Dime had already been in circulation for nearly 5 decades. Millions had been struck, spent, saved, and forgotten. But the 1994 issue, especially the one bearing the D Mint mark, represents a specific moment in American history, when minting technology was modern, but human and mechanical imperfections still played a role. And it is exactly within those imperfections where value often hides. Understanding the D Mint mark, the small letter D on the coin, tells us something important. It means the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the most active and historically significant mints in the United States. The Denver Mint is known for producing coins in massive quantities, but also for occasionally releasing coins with subtle variations that can dramatically affect collectability. In 1994, the Denver Mint produced an enormous number of Roosevelt Dimes. On paper, this would suggest that the coin is common. But coin collecting is never just about numbers. It is about condition, rarity within rarity, and the stories behind specific strikes. Not all 1994 D Roosevelt Dimes are created equal. Design details that matter. Let's take a closer look at the design, because this is where collectors begin their inspection. On the front of the coin, Roosevelt's profile faces left, calm and dignified. The word liberty curves along the edge, while the motto "In God We Trust" sits quietly nearby. The date 1994 appears clean and simple, yet even the shape of these numbers can become important when identifying rare variations. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the torch of liberty, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. These symbols represent freedom, peace, and strength, core American values captured in a design that has remained mostly unchanged for decades. But collectors look beyond beauty. They examine strike sharpness, alignment, surface texture, and microscopic details invisible to the casual observer. Condition is everything. One of the most important factors in determining a coin's worth is condition. A circulated coin, even from a desirable year, will never command the same attention as one preserved in pristine shape. For the 1994 D Roosevelt Dime, condition can transform an everyday coin into something extraordinary. Coins that show no wear, sharp details, full torch lines, and flawless surfaces become a completely different category altogether. Full torch designation is especially critical. This refers to the horizontal bands on the torch being fully separated and sharply struck. Achieving this level of detail was not guaranteed, even with modern minting equipment. That's where rarity enters the picture. Errors, variations, and collector demand, what truly fuels interest in the 1994 D Roosevelt Dime, are rare mint errors and exceptional strikes. These include off-center strikes, doubled dies, misaligned dies, and coins struck with unusually strong detail. Such errors are not planned. They occur briefly, sometimes affecting only a tiny number of coins before the issue is corrected. When discovered, these coins become instant conversation pieces within the collecting community. Collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying a moment, a split second in minting history where something went differently. Demand grows when collectors realize how few of these exceptional examples exist, especially when certified and graded at the highest levels. Why collectors chase this coin so? Why would collectors chase a dime from the 1990s? The answer lies in accessibility and surprise. Many collectors love the idea that valuable coins can still be found without digging through ancient ruins or spending decades searching auctions. The 1994 D Roosevelt Dime represents the thrill of the hunt in modern times, that it's a reminder that value does not always come from age. Sometimes it comes from perfection, rarity within mass production, and the stories collectors attach to specific coins. This is why some examples of this dime have reached astonishing levels of attention and demand. The market psychology behind the value coin markets are driven by emotion as much as logic. When a coin captures attention, especially through record-setting sales or high-grade certifications, it creates a ripple effect. Collectors begin to look again. Dealers reevaluate inventory. Prices rise not just because of metal or age, but because of perception and competition. The 1994 D Roosevelt Dime sits at the intersection of modern minting and elite-level collecting. It challenges assumptions and rewards those who understand nuance. Final thoughts before the reveal: if you've ever dismissed a dime as insignificant, this coin proves otherwise. It teaches us that history, craftsmanship, and chance can transform even the smallest denomination into a remarkable artifact. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone just discovering the world of coins, the 1994 D Roosevelt Dime from the Denver Mint is a powerful reminder. Never underestimate what you might already have. We're diving deep into the story, mystery, and fascination surrounding the United States of America 2004 D Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 dime coin. This isn't just a story about money. It's a story about history, rarity, condition, and how something so small can carry such big significance. Settle in, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a dime the same way again. A brief history of the Roosevelt Dime. The Roosevelt Dime was introduced in 1946, shortly after the passing of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The design was chosen to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his strong association with the March of Dimes campaign, which fought against polio. From the very beginning, the Roosevelt Dime became a symbol of resilience and everyday American life. Over the decades, billions of these dimes were produced, circulating through hands, pockets, and cash registers across the nation. Because of this massive production, most people assume Roosevelt dimes are common and unremarkable. But as every serious collector knows, not all coins are created equal. The importance of the 2004 D Mint Mark. Fast forward to the year 2004. The United States Mint was producing coins at several facilities, including the Denver Mint. Coins struck at Denver carry a small but powerful letter on the obverse side, the D Mint mark. The 2004 D Roosevelt Dime was struck in large numbers, intended for everyday circulation. At first glance, it appears no different from countless other dimes produced that year. The same familiar portrait of Roosevelt. The same torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. The same copper-nickel clad composition. So why does this coin matter? Because within ordinary mintages, extraordinary exceptions can exist. What makes a coin valuable beyond face value? Coin value is not determined by age alone. In fact, Many old coins are worth very little, while some modern coins can become incredibly valuable under the right conditions. For the 2004 Roosevelt Dime, value depends on a powerful combination of factors. The first is condition. Coins are graded on a scale that measures wear, luster, strike quality, and overall preservation. Most dimes from 2004 were heavily circulated, picked up scratches, lost shine, and blended into everyday commerce. But a tiny number survived in pristine condition, untouched by circulation. The second factor is strike quality. Some coins are struck with exceptional sharpness, full details, and strong design elements. Collectors seek these examples because they represent the minting process at its finest. The third factor is rarity within condition. Even if millions were produced, very few may exist at the highest grading levels. This creates competition among collectors who want the best of the best. And finally, there's demand. When collectors agree that a particular coin represents something special, value can rise dramatically. Mint state perfection and collector obsession. When collectors talk about top-tier coins, they often use the term mint state. This refers to coins that show no signs of wear from circulation. Within mint state, there are levels that separate good examples from extraordinary ones. A 2004 Roosevelt Dime that reaches the highest levels of grading becomes something entirely different from pocket change. It becomes a trophy, a benchmark, a coin that represents perfection in modern minting. These coins are often preserved immediately after striking, stored carefully, and later submitted for professional grading. Once certified, they enter an elite category where only a handful of similar examples may exist. This is where the story shifts from ordinary to exceptional. Why modern coins can shock the market. Many people assume that only ancient or gold coins can achieve impressive values. But modern coins have been known to surprise even seasoned collectors. The reason is simple. Modern coins are mass-produced, and because of that, few people bother to preserve them carefully. When a coin from a recent year survives in flawless condition, it can become far rarer than coins that are hundreds of years old. The 2004 Roosevelt Dime fits perfectly into this phenomenon. While most examples are ignored, the finest known specimens become the center of attention when they appear at auctions or in private collections. Collectors compete not for age, but for perfection. The emotional side of coin collecting isn't just about metal and numbers. It's about stories, emotions, and the thrill of discovery. For some collectors, the 2004 Roosevelt Dime represents a challenge. Finding one in exceptional condition feels like beating the odds. For others, it's about completing a set with the highest possible quality. And for many, it's about the idea that something so small and ordinary can become extraordinary. There's also a powerful emotional connection in knowing that this coin once passed unnoticed through the world, only to later be recognized for its uniqueness. That transformation is what makes coin collecting addictive. Hidden potential in everyday change. One of the most exciting aspects of this coin story is what it represents to everyday people. It reminds us that valuable items don't always look valuable at first glance. That jar of change, that dime sitting in your wallet, that coin you almost drop on the ground. Any one of them could, under the right circumstances, be something special. The 2004 Roosevelt Dime has become a symbol of that possibility. It encourages curiosity. It invites closer inspection. It turns routine moments into opportunities for discovery. And that sense of possibility is priceless to collectors and newcomers alike. A coin that redefined expectations over time. The reputation of this coin has grown. What was once ignored became studied. What was once spent became preserved. And what was once common became rare in the highest condition levels. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened through careful observation, professional grading, collector competition, and a shared understanding that excellence matters. The 2004 Roosevelt Dime now stands as an example of how modern coins can achieve legendary status when all the right factors align. That it challenges assumptions and rewrites the rules of what people think valuable coins should look like. Closing thoughts. Small coin, big legacy. As we wrap up this deep dive, take a moment to appreciate the journey of this dime. From the presses of the Denver Mint to the hands of collectors, it has traveled a path few could have predicted. It represents American history, modern craftsmanship, and the power of rarity within abundance. It proves that value is not always about size, age, or precious metal. but about condition, story, and desire. Today's video is not just about a coin. It is about American history, hidden value, quiet rarity, and the surprising journey of a dime that has captured the attention of collectors, researchers, and everyday people who never imagined that something so common could be so fascinating. So sit back, stay curious, and let's dive deep into the story behind this remarkable Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime and its place in American history. The Roosevelt dime was introduced to honor Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of the most influential presidents in United States history. His leadership during some of the most challenging times in the nation's past left a lasting impact, and placing his portrait on a circulating coin was a tribute meant to travel through the hands of millions. By the time the 2007 Roosevelt dime was struck, the design had already become a familiar symbol of American coinage. But familiarity does not mean insignificance. In fact, it is often the most familiar objects that hide the greatest stories. The year 2007 marked a time of transition in the modern world. Technology was accelerating, global markets were shifting, and the United States Mint was producing coins for everyday use at a massive scale. Yet within this production, subtle details began to matter more than ever to collectors. Understanding the P Mint mark. The P Mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historic mints in the United States. Philadelphia has long been the backbone of American coin production, and coins struck there often carry a sense of authenticity and legacy. For the Roosevelt dime of this year, the P Mint mark represents more than just a location. It symbolizes precision, consistency, and a standard that collectors closely examine. Every tiny detail, from the sharpness of Roosevelt's profile to the clarity of the lettering, becomes part of the coin's identity. While millions of dimes were produced, not all of them are equal. The smallest variations can turn an ordinary coin into a subject of serious interest. Design details that collectors look for. In the front of the coin, Franklin D. Roosevelt's portrait faces left, displaying calm strength and thoughtful expression. The sculpting of the hair, the shape of the jawline, and the balance of the facial features all play a role in determining the coin's visual appeal. The reverse side features the torch, olive branch, and oak branch. Together, they symbolize liberty, peace, and strength. These elements are not just decorative. They represent values deeply rooted in American identity. Collectors carefully examine how sharply these symbols appear. Strong strikes, clean surfaces, and balanced details can elevate a coin far beyond its everyday reputation. Why condition changes everything. Condition is the heartbeat of coin collecting. A Roosevelt dime from circulation may tell a story of use and travel, but a well-preserved example tells a different kind of story, one of care, chance, or perhaps simple luck. Coins that show minimal wear, strong luster, and clear details are especially sought after. Even small marks can influence how a coin is viewed by experts. The 2007 P Mint mark dime is no exception. In certain exceptional cases, examples emerge that stand out dramatically from the rest. These are the coins that spark conversations, debates, and admiration within the collecting community. Modern coins and the myth of no value. There is a common belief that modern coins cannot be valuable. Many people assume that only ancient or very old coins are worth attention. But this belief is slowly fading. Modern coins, especially those with unique characteristics, exceptional preservation, or special production qualities, are increasingly being studied and appreciated. The Roosevelt dime from this year challenges the idea that age alone determines worth. Collectors today look beyond age. They focus on rarity within condition, demand, and the story each coin tells. The psychological appeal of the Roosevelt dime. There is something emotionally powerful about discovering that an everyday object can be extraordinary. The Roosevelt dime represents this perfectly. It reminds people that history is not always locked away in museums. Sometimes, it passes quietly from hand to hand. This emotional connection plays a huge role in why collectors are drawn to certain coins. The 2007 P Mint mark dime is not just metal. It is a moment in time, frozen and preserved, waiting for someone to notice. Market attention and collector interest. As interest in modern coinage grows, specific examples begin to rise above the rest. Discussions appear in collector circles, research deepens, and attention sharpens. The Roosevelt dime of this year has become a topic of curiosity, especially when found in extraordinary condition. Its association with a historic mint, a beloved design, and modern rarity dynamics gives it a unique position in the collecting world. Coins like this do not shout their importance. They whisper it. And only those who listen closely understand what makes them special. Why this coin stands out today, what makes the 2007 P Mint Mark Roosevelt Dime truly stand out is not just its design or origin, but its journey through perception. Once seen as ordinary, it has slowly gained recognition as something more. A reminder that value is not always obvious at first glance. Collectors who understand this coin see it not as spare change, but as a symbol of how modern numismatics continues to evolve. Final thoughts on its worth in the world of coin collecting. Value is shaped by rarity, condition, demand, and story. The 2007 P Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 Dime brings all of these elements together in a way that surprises many people.